excited to chat with you. So
Thank
in the
you.
well, in the film, you play Owen, Emily Elizabeth's friend from school. What can you tell us about the character and his relationship with Emily?
Owen is sort of Emily's like best friend slash secret admirer slash has a crush on her, and Owen's a really caring, careful, but kind dude. And he's also very trustful and loyal to Emily and Clifford. And that's their kind of relationship. They're best friends, they're very loyal to each other, and they care for each other. And they'll always be there for each other and try to help each other out.
Well, it's so cute. It's really adorable how he interacts with her, and it's obvious he has a crush on her. So, what cues did they tell you to act like when it regarding your feelings towards the character's feelings towards her?
Man, it was so long ago, actually. I kind of remember very little. I do remember Walt like saying he's like, hey, you want to do this so that you can kind of show like your emotions out. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But yeah, there's a couple scenes where Owen was a little shy around Emily, especially near the beginning of the movie. But towards the end, actually, he got a lot braver and he kind of had a grow up moment over time. And I think I think those were sort of the cues. I think those that's where Owen kind of showed his personality.
Okay. Well, it seems like Owen interacts with Clifford a lot and is in a lot of major scenes with him. How was it acting alongside what was essentially a green ball, like a green screen ball?
It was actually a puppet. So there was
Oh,
a giant 10-foot puppet, and the puppeteers who were controlling it did an amazing job actually making the puppet seem like a real dog. And there are certain points where it's like there's no way this thing's a dog. It has to be. I mean, there's no way this thing's a puppet. It has to be a real dog. And I think the puppeteers did such a good job at making it seem like a real puppet. I mean, the controls inside the puppet were super sophisticated. Like I couldn't even learn them. You give me a couple years and I probably learned how to make it go up and down. But yeah, so props to the puppeteers. They did an amazing job.
well, you know what? Even with the puppeteers, even with the puppet, it's hard. It's hard to act alongside something that doesn't emote. When as actors you emote to each other, and that brings out the most out of you. What was the most difficult part with like emoting with a puppet?
To be honest, it actually wasn't that hard. I mean, the puppeteers did such a good job that I only had to use a bit of my imagination to make it seem like it was like either sad or happy because what they did with like the movement of the head and the body was so amazing. So it made my job super easy and it made me use little imagination as possible so I could focus more into acting.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And you did such a cute job. It was like the fart scene when he runs out. I was just like, okay, I need to know that scene and how he was able to just like in that small space. But what I really loved about finding out about Owen is his dad, Russell Wong. It plays your dad. How was it playing alongside the iconic actor? And did he give you any advice or how was it playing alongside him?
I mean, he was a really fun actor and he was really, really smart and he was really controlled when it came to acting. Like, honest, I learned a lot from him and he didn't even have to tell me to do things. I was just like, oh, wow, I never knew that you can do that. And my mom is kind of a big fan of Russell Wong. I mean, she's like kind of like a child. It's like an adult idol for my mom. And so, yeah, it was really fun working along him, and my mom definitely had a good time with him too. Not in that way. I meant it like I meant
I get it,
like
mom. I
it was
get
fun
it.
hanging out. Yeah, hanging out.
Isaac,
There we
mom, I
go.
get it. Well, no, well, the cast of Clifford is filled with funny people. It's filled with comedians. You have David Allen Greer, Russell Peter, Horatio Sands, Paul Rodriguez, Jack Whitehall, John Cleese, Tony Hale. How was it on the set, and how many times did you guys have to make many takes because of their improv and their comedy beats?
Honestly, Walt Becker was a very accepting director, and in certain scenes were actually like created by Jack Whitehall or John Cleese. Like, and there were certain jokes that Walt had to come up with, but John Cleese and Jack Whitehall and all these other SNL actors came up with. And I think that was kind of the core. That was the core of the show. All those actors, that was like what supported this comedy. And like without them, it wouldn't be as funny as it is. So they're basically like legends, and they helped make the movie.
Yeah, but did they any was it difficult to get through some lines, through some scenes because of that?
Not really. I mean,
Okay, good.
they did such a good job. There's nothing that difficult about it. The improv was like so good.
Well, you know, Clifford and his friendship with Emily and with everyone, with Owen and even you know, with Uncle Casey, like it's the heart of the story. What was your take on this story and Clifford's part in their lives?
I mean, I think Clifford in general, he's just a big loving dog. Like, there's nothing you can actually know. There's some things you can hate about him. He's a big dog. But Clifford's a big, kind, caring dog, and even though he tries to do things that are good, sometimes he messes them up and it kind of doesn't work out. But Clifford brings love, and that's what Clifford is. He's just a big old loving dog.
Well, and Clifford, because he's a loving dog, he's like he plays a huge role in people's lives in Scholastic throughout the years. You know, even way before you were born, way before your mother was born, you know, it's been a part of people's lives. Has Clifford played a big part in your families or your lives in and prior to the movie of reading it or you know understanding the story of Clifford?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I basically grew up on Clifford. I have like four books back here. I got a bunch of books from my library. So I grew up on Clifford, and I watched all the TV shows too. And yeah, Clifford was a big part of my childhood, and I don't think I could have learned to accept others without him and
Well,
my dad.
no, of course. Well, Clifford is the story of Clifford. This movie, you know, it was done a few years ago, and if there was you know going to be a continuation of this children's story, where would we see Owen now? Because I feel like Owen, you know, probably evolved past like the shy stage. Where do you see Owen in maybe in 5 years if they decide like, hey, let's do a Emily Elizabeth story with Clifford 5 years from now?
I think Owen would be super badass and really cool. Like he'd drive around in like a really cool, like a 1990s like Nissan Silvia S14, and he'd be driving around like this, like smoking a bubble pipe because smoking isn't cool, and he'd wear like a leather jacket and like denim pants, and just like he's really cool and stuff. And then yeah, I don't know. I think Owen would be a pretty cool guy when he grows
that,
up.
that's
Maybe
my
a little
favorite.
bit, still a little bit careful, but like I'll always keep two hands on the wheel, guys. That's important.
Would he be dating Emily Elizabeth, or would he move on?
I don't know. That's a story to be told another time. I mean, I don't have the authority to say that. I don't really know. Maybe, maybe not.
That's I think that's my favorite description of 5 years from now whenever I ask that question. Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you. I can't wait for everyone to see it. And if you could describe Clifford the Big Red Dog in one word, the movie, what would you describe it as? Like what the one word?
Love.
Oh,
Sure.
that's cute. Well, thank you so much. It was so great talking to you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Movies and TV, yeah. Pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.